In this video, let's take a look at some sentences expressing obligation and how they are rendered in English, Chinese, and Japanese. In the process, we can see how much Japanese speakers can understand written Chinese and vice versa, and we'll examine similarities and differences in the use and meanings of characters. My aim is to make this video useful for everyone studying Chinese, Japanese, or even English. For the example sentences, I will use the modal verbs must, should, and had better. Example 1. I'm sorry, but I must go. So let's see how the modal verb must is expressed in the two languages. Listen to the example sentences 2 times. In the case of Japanese, there are 2 different ways presented.
对不起，但我现在必须走了。对不起，但我现在必须走了。
すみませんが、もう行かなければなりません。すみませんが、もう行かなければなりません。すみませんが、もう行かなければいけません。すみませんが、もう行かなければいけません。
There are quite a few ways to express obligation or requirement in Chinese. First, let's look at 必須 and what the character combination means in Japanese. In Japanese,
必須
means essential or indispensable. It is not commonly used as
必要
and there is a slight difference in meaning between the two.
必要
Means necessary or needed rather than an obligatory action. For example, in the sentence,
この書類は提出が必須ですが、写真も必要ですか？この書類は提出が必須ですが、写真も必要ですか？
you can see the difference. Submitting this document is essential, but is a photograph necessary? In Chinese, this character combination also exists, 必要, and means it's necessary or essential. It is generally used as an adjective or a noun to express the necessity of something. For example,
这是必要的步骤。这是必要的步骤。
this is a necessary step. In Japanese,
必要
can be used with hiragana, na,
これは必要な手順です。
and functions similarly to how it is used in the Chinese sentence,
这是必要的步骤。
meaning this is a necessary step. You can see this nakereba has eba at the end, right? When you see eba at the end, you know that it is a conditional form. If, for example, if you say ikeba, it means if I, you, he, she, it, etc. go, goes. But nakereba means if I, you, he, she, it, etc. doesn't do something. Ikanakereba means if I, he, she, etc. don't go. So in Japanese, we usually use
なければならない、
or
なければいけない、なければなりません、
and
なければいけません。
are polite forms.
すみませんが、もう行かなければなりません。
The final meaning is, sorry, but already, if I don't go, it will not be acceptable. So what is the difference between using
なければなりません。
and
なければいけません。すみませんが、もう行かなければなりません。
is more objective? It is what other people expect you to do.
すみませんが、もう行かなければいけません。
Is used when the speaker feels the need to do it. What if a Japanese who does not know Chinese sees the sentence,
对不起，但我现在必须走了。
what will they understand? First, in Japanese, the characters
对不起，
meaning excuse me in Chinese would be read as taifuki, but this doesn't form a meaningful word in Japanese. Individually, the characters can be broken down as tai. This character could be interpreted as against or opposite. Fu could mean not or non, indicating negation. Ki, this character can mean to rise, to wake up, or to occur, but Japanese speakers would not understand it to mean I am sorry. Dan in Chinese can mean but, however, or yet, and can have a similar meaning in Japanese when the character is followed by shi in hiragana and would be pronounced
ただし、
so this might be understood. In Japanese, the Chinese word for I, wa, would be ware or ga used in compounds, is much less common in everyday conversation. It is a more classical or literary way to refer to oneself, often seen in written texts, historical contexts, or sometimes in manga and anime to give a character a certain gravitas or to evoke an archaic tone. In modern Japanese, other words like watashi, boku, ore are much more frequently used for I or me in daily conversation, with each having its own level of politeness and gender connotations. What if you know Japanese but not Chinese?
对不起，但我现在必须走了。
Shenzai means now or currently, indicating the present moment in Chinese. However, in both Chinese and Japanese, the characters mean modern times or contemporary era. For a Japanese person, Shenzai or Genzai does not mean now. Japanese use the character ima. In Japanese,
そう。
on its own is less common as an independent word. It is primarily recognized as part of compounds or in the verb form,
走る。
which means to run.
了。
Is used in compounds such as
完了。
meaning completion or conclusion in Japanese. So a Japanese person might understand it as, but it is essential that I run. What if you know Chinese but not Japanese? Xing is the only Chinese character in the sentence, so you can only guess the meaning from one character, and that character can have various meanings depending on the combination. In Chinese, the character xing can mean to go in the context of physically moving from one place to another. Xingzhou literally means to walk or to travel, emphasizing the action of going by foot. Kei xing informally means that works or can go, where xing is understood as to be feasible or to go ahead. Chu xing means to set out or to depart, focusing on the act of going out, especially for a trip or journey. Example 2. You must come in person.
必须你本人来，必须你本人来。
必ず本人が来なければなりません。必ず本人が来なければなりません。
The first character in 必須 can become 必ず in Japanese. It is an adverb meaning without fail, definitely, or certainly. Honnin in Japanese, Bangren in Chinese, means the person himself, herself, in both languages, and it conveys the same idea of the individual in question being physically present or involved. Notice that in Japanese, the pronoun for you is dropped. Japanese often avoids using pronouns, especially for you. What if you know Japanese but don't know Chinese? The character ni, you in Chinese, is not used in Japanese, but the meaning of the sentence could be inferred as the verb base for come in Japanese uses the same character plus the hiragana ru. What if you know Chinese but not Japanese? Based on these 4 characters used in the sentence, it's possible to guess the meaning. Example 3. You should rest.
你应该休息，你应该休息。
休むべきです。休むべきです。
Ingai in Chinese and beki in Japanese are used to convey the speaker's opinion that it is proper, advisable, or desirable to perform the action that follows, in this case to rest. The sentences in both languages express the concept of should as a suggestion or mild obligation. So what if you know Japanese but not Chinese? The same character combination also exists in Japanese as
休息。休息すべきです。
but it is not conversational. So a Japanese speaker will understand that it has something to do with resting. What if you know Chinese but not Japanese? Only shiu would be understood as to rest. Example 4. You had better go to bed early. You have to work tomorrow.
你最好早点睡觉，明天还要上班。你最好早点睡觉，明天还要上班。
明日は仕事に行かなければならないので、早く寝た方がいいです。明日は仕事に行かなければならないので、早く寝た方がいいです。
The Japanese sentence is, you have to go to work tomorrow, so you had better go to bed early. In Chinese, 最好 is used to express had better or is best to. In Japanese, a verb is conjugated in the past plus
方がいい。
Note that an adjective can also be used. For example,
簡単な方がいい。
it is better if it is simple, easy. What if you know Japanese but not Chinese? Ni, you in Chinese, as we know, is not commonly used in Japanese. Sui hao, meaning had better or is best to. In Japanese, these characters are not combined together, but it seems to mean the most like. Zao dian contains zao, which means early in both languages. The dian might not be clearly understood in its meaning of a bit or somewhat. Sui jiao. Sui also means sleep in Japanese, but kaku means awake or consciousness, so it's a bit of a strange combination for a Japanese speaker. Mingtian is tomorrow, but in Japanese it means bright heaven, and ashita is used. They might guess this refers to tomorrow. The character hai means still or yet and does not have a direct standalone meaning in modern Japanese, but yao might be understood as need or want, similar to its use in Japanese, giving a sense of necessity. Shangban includes ue, up, or agaru, go up in Japanese, and han, which can refer to a work shift or a team within a department. A Japanese speaker could glean that this is a recommendation regarding sleeping early because there's a need to go to work tomorrow. What if you know Chinese but not Japanese? First we have mingru in Chinese. This can mean tomorrow in both languages. Shi in Chinese could be interpreted as official duties or affairs, quite close to the Japanese meaning of work. Xing in Chinese, as mentioned, is related to the verb to go in Chinese, which is consistent with the Japanese usage here. Hayaku, the character zao, would be recognized as early. Neta, jiu qin, means to go to sleep in Chinese. Ho or fang in Chinese could be understood as direction or method, which might not convey the meaning of better in this context. I desu cannot be understood. A Chinese speaker could possibly infer from the recognized kanji that the sentence has something to do with the necessity of going to work tomorrow and something about sleeping early being better, but the grammatical nuances and some specific meanings would be lost without knowledge of Japanese. Well, I hope this has been useful for your studies. Please let me know in the comments.